Hey there, welcome back to our devotional series on the book of Philippians. Today we're going to be finishing out chapter 2 and reading verses 19 through 30. So let's take a read. It says in verse 19, I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you soon, so that I too may be cheered by news of you. For I have no one like him who will be genuinely concerned for your welfare. For they all seek their own interests, not those of Jesus Christ. But you know Timothy's proven worth, how as a son with a father he has served with me in the gospel. I hope, therefore, to send him just as soon as I see how it will go with me, and I trust in the Lord that shortly I myself will come also. I have thought it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother and fellow worker and fellow soldier, and your messenger and minister to my need. For he has been longing for you all, and has been distressed because you heard that he was ill. Indeed, he was ill, near death, but God had mercy on him, and not only on him, but also on me, lest I should have sorrow upon sorrow. I am the more eager to send him, therefore, that you may rejoice at seeing him again, and that I may be less anxious. So receive him in the Lord with all joy and honor such men, for he nearly died for the work of Christ, risking his life to complete what was lacking in your service to me. You know, I think about this passage, and again, I've tried to go through the book of Philippians and find ways that somehow connect with our current situation that we're going through. And one of the things that jumps at me is just the importance of relationships. And I don't know about you, but I have felt that more keenly in the last few weeks than really ever before. Nothing helps you to value relationships and community like being separated from said relationships and community. And as much as it's great to connect on Zoom and have conversations, and quite honestly, I think I've had some really great conversations and connections with people over Zoom, there's nothing that replaces being together and living together in community. And so as I read this, Paul reminds us, Paul writes this at a time when there was no Zoom and no internet. And the only way to connect with somebody was to send a message or to send a messenger. And, I think about as impressive as communication was in ancient times in Rome, it's still nothing like what we have today. And so Paul has to send Timothy just to send some good news, to receive news of how the disciples are doing. He had to send for that. And so you see just how important to Paul communication was. He was sitting there in prison wondering what's happening, what's going on in Philippi. He had no idea. And I think we're very blessed. We're very blessed to have the opportunity to connect and to have the relationships that we do have. And so I think that communication, what this teaches me, at least as I think about our time today, is that communication is so important to us. We're not talking just about exchange of information, but we're talking about genuine interest. As you read Paul's words, his words just drip with interest and curiosity and longing to know how the brothers and sisters are doing. As if you think about chapter 2 or earlier in the chapter about Jesus, it's as if Paul is not looking to his own interests, but he's really looking to the interests of others. And it's exactly why he wants to send Timothy to them. And the great thing is that Timothy actually shares Paul's attitude. And so Paul felt great about sending Timothy because it was as if he was sending himself. And so, as I think about this and how it applies to us today, I just want to encourage us as we reflect on this to get good at communication. I know that's not very proper English, but let's get good at communication. Let's get better at it. Let's reach out. We have time. Perhaps you have more time now than you normally do. Perhaps you have less. But let's make it a priority to be connected. It's a great time to reach out to those perhaps that we haven't talked to in a long time, or to continue relationships that are already critical and valuable to us, to really invest and to give time to relationships. We all need it. We're going to have to get creative depending on how long the quarantine situation lasts. In verse 25, Paul sends Epaphroditus back to the Philippians, and he describes him as a brother, a fellow worker, a fellow soldier, and their messenger, right? And even though Epaphroditus was sick, he still did everything that he could. He needed, and so Paul wanted him to be received with joy and with honor. And I think as I read this passage just about Paul and his relationships with these individuals and with the church, I'm just inspired by that. And so as we reflect on this brief part of the book of Philippians this week, I want to encourage you, reach out to somebody. Perhaps right now as you're thinking there's somebody comes to mind that you haven't talked to in a long time, turn this video off, pick up your phone, pick up your computer, your device, whatever it is, make that connection. Let's value the community that we have, and let's make sure that we are every day investing in building that community up because it is a blessing, a true blessing from God. We'll see you next time.